Hello, this is a supplement to our classwork. In class, we talked about how to create a complex system, such as we have three different employees, um, a wage earner, a salesperson, and a manager, where the wage earner just has a fixed hourly rate and the number of hours they worked. The salesperson has a wage and hours, but they also have sales and a percent commission, and a manager is a flat rate. We wanted to build a system that could keep track of all these things and explore the programming difficulties. One thing we have done or learned to do is try to avoid pure numbers. If we have to use a number to identify something, we give it a name and make it a constant. Here I used unsigned integers. Normally I just use an integer. I was just being fancy. Another technique we can use is to use an enumerated data type, an enum. And we give it a name, employee type, and it's going to take the place of all our constants. We will simply say wage pay, sales pay, manager pay, and the compiler will assign numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Next, we're going to have one variable to, as I said in class, rule them all. I'd like to squeeze all of this into one creature to make our life easier, I hope. So what we do is, well, all employees have a name, so they have other things too, but just give them a name. Then we'll have a tag. What the tag will be used for is to tell us what type of employee we're storing here. Hourly rate, sales rate, or flat rate manager. There could be others, of course. Next, to save space and to get really, really fancy, I'm going to use this tag in the following way. This keyword union will allow me to share the next group of memory locations. How will it share them? The wage earner takes 2 bytes. The sales earner needs, not 2 bytes, 2 doubles. The sales earner needs 4 doubles. The manager needs 1 double. So what'll happen is, what we'll do is the compiler will set us up with 4 doubles max. And we'll use this space one at a time. So it'll either be a wage, sales, or manager. We don't know what's stored there if it were not for the tag. The tag will guide us into which of these 3 variables to use, worker, seller, or manager. Well, what do I do if I want to calculate someone's pay? Given this structure, I come down here, EMP stands for employee, and that star means it's a pointer. So this is a variable that's pointing to this structure. And this here means I can't change anything in it. It's a safety. When I come into the function here to calculate the pay, I have to note that the 3 classes of employees are paid differently. I look at the tag. If the tag is equal to wage pay, I come here and I look at the pointer, EMP. It must be pointing, because the tag is wage pay, it must be pointing to a worker. If it's pointing to a worker has inside it hours. So I'm going to pull the hours out. And again, I repeat that thought process here. My employee, EMP, is pointing to a worker, and a worker must have inside it a wage. How do I know that? Go all the way up here. If someone is a wage, they have 2 variables built in right there. There's my worker. So my worker is a wage T. A wage T has these 2 things built in. I repeat that line of thinking for my sales associate. If the tag is a sales associate tag, I come down here and I perform this long computation. If it's a manager, life is simple. I just take the manager's weekly pay and I return that as my computed pay. I'm going to skip a few functions. We'll come back to them. Let's go right to our main app. Our main app, which we didn't get up to. We didn't get up to this either. Our main app, I call it Payroll System version 1. It's basically a test. the whole technique we're using is prone to errors. It's just what happens is it gets out of hand. We can do it, but we have to be really careful. Here I set up an array so that I can hold 6 employees. How do I know 6 employees in it? That's the syntax for an array. That's what this means. I have an array. How many items? 6. What's inside this array? Employees. What's an employee? Come back up here. This thing is an employee. And we have to use it with the rules we're thinking about with enum. And knowing what's inside the union are these things. So I go flying back down here and I say, all right, what do I want to do? I want to set up 6 employees. I'm going to get fancy. I'm going to set up an integer. I'm going to call it EIN for employee number. And I'll say tagged on that. So here we have payroll, first employee 0. Set that tag to a manager. Notice I have to use string copy because I have a char star. And I call the manager's name Mary Jane. Mary Jane gets $1,000 weekly, no matter how many hours Mary Jane works. Next, I'm going to add 1 to my employee number to get the next employee. I go into my array. I say, okay, we're at the next employee in the array. All employees have tags, so I go into the tag. If I get this wrong, the IDE will help me. Watch, suppose I get here and I don't know what to do. Hit a period, and it shows me what my choices are. Ah, I want to set the tag. Whoops. I barely have to type. Tag. And I might move this over to make it look nicer. Next, I want to copy my first worker, which I didn't give a name. I just called this person a good worker, into the payroll. Notice I have to use string copy because, again, it's a char star. Then I go down, still the same employee number. Dot going, it is because the tag is a wage pay. It's what's in there is a worker. Watch, suppose I forgot this. I say period. This is a what? A worker. What's inside a worker? Ah, number of hours, 35. Same thing here. If I forgot what to write, looks like my parse is still figuring something out. Ah, here we go. Hours, wage. Move things over so it looks good. And I look at this and I say, I should probably put these steps inside a function, and I'll call it set the worker. Next. Why? Because look at this. Here I have to repeat everything again for John Doe. John Doe works 35 hours at $14.28 an hour and is paid hourly wage. Maybe I should have called that hourly pay. Next employee. Oh boy, see, I really wish I had a function about now. Work full-time worker number 3, $14.28 an hour, 35 hours. Next employee, another wage. This one's part-time, worker number 4, 15 hours at $10.15 an hour. Notice I keep adding 1, so I don't have to manually change numbers. Salesperson. This person's for sales. It's Smooth Sam. Smooth Sam works 50 hours, $8 an hour. But Smooth Sam got 10,000 sales and at a 10%, almost 10% sales commission. Next, I'm really glad I have a function. I want to display all of my employees, all N of them on payroll. After that, I want to display one employee's name. Notice, payroll I'm using I now, but this is a bunch of skip a line, and move over a little bit. I grab employee I, pass the address over, because I want pointers. If I left this off, it would be a copy of this data structure in here, but I don't want to. I want to send the address of it, a pointer. Remember, with pointers in C++ and C, you need to pass an address. So I'll display the employee information. I love that. And then I will use my compute pay formula by passing over the employee's information again. Notice it's same variable I is used in both cases. And let's see what this gives us. If I compile and run this program, you will see payroll system. Mary Jane is a manager. Fixed pay $1,000. Good worker 1. You can read this yourself, of course. This is on video. You can pause the screen. There's Mary Jane. I'm printing out paychecks or transferring funds to their bank account. Pretty smooth, huh? A lot of work to get there. Here's how you display an employee, one employee at a time. Give me a pointer to the structure employee. I say, well, I always know the employee's name. Employee is pointing to a name. Print out the name. Here, I make everything look nice by setting the width. To use set width, I have to use the IO manipulator. You might have seen that in your intro class. Next, I look at the tag again. Depending on the tag, I will either print out this piece of information, or this one. And when I'm done, I always skip a line. Next, I have this cool function, display everybody, display all. Here, you give me an appointee, a pointer to the employee, and I take that information, because I really know this is an array. It's an array of structures, so it's an array. I look at it like an array, but what's inside this thing is a structure, and I want to give that structure to this creature, which is a pointer. Because it's a pointer, and I'm giving it one element out of the array, I have to say, give it the address of that element. This might take you an hour or two just thinking about, and wish you the best of luck thinking about it. The code will be uploaded along with this on Blackboard. I'll put this on YouTube as well for whatever purpose. All right. Till next time. Oh, next time what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to C++.